Hello guys, Michelle came back once again. Shout out to the video. Is Ricardo Martinez hurt? Somebody said, what do you mean? He just rocked, shocked, and dropped Sendo across the mat. Twice. Back to back. Bar for bar. And the reason why I asked that question is there's a panel inside the recent chapter that makes me question everything. Now when I first read it, like how I misinterpret the grandma laughing thing, this doesn't usually happen. Right? But just like then, just like how I misinterpret the grandma laughing thing, she was saying he, not he and laughing. But in this case, the panel is, remember when I said that Ricardo Martinez was looking at Sendo after he dropped him and the ref was counting? There's a scene where there's a close-up of Ricardo Martinez's arm and it's just shaking. Now at first I thought, well, you know, Martinez is mad. He's angry. Like, get up, Sendo. I expected more from you. But what if the reason why his arms are shaking is not because he's mad, but because he's actually taking some serious damage from Sendo on his arms? Then somebody say, why would you say that? Because you look, remember I told you I had to zoom in and color the images? Why do his arms look like that? And I look at every other panel in this fight, or even previous fights, nobody's arms had them extra scratches on it. Nobody. And then the previous chapters, right? The way Ricardo Martinez described his sweating, the way Ricardo Martinez described, like the artwork showing that his arms are just falling apart, maybe that was not just symbolism. Maybe Sendo, in this brass attempt at attacking Ricardo Martinez viciously and welling on his guard back and back, making him shell up, maybe it's not as suicidal as I thought it was. Maybe Sendo got more plans into defeating Ricardo than I thought it was. Because then you got to answer a big question. In the sparring, as I keep brought up in the chapter review, we saw how versatile Ricardo Martinez was with the jab. Easily picking Sendo apart. Easily. Bloody and everything. Violent on him. So why is it for 2 straight rounds Ricardo Martinez has been unable to throw out a high caliber jab? I don't think that's strange. How easily he was able to do it in sparring. Alright, we pull out the rifle. Because remember, the way Bill Stewart described it is the left isn't taming the tiger. It's time to switch to the rifle. Why would he describe taming the tiger like that? Why? Because you would expect the way this chapter went out that this right hand was supposed to, you know, put Sendo to sleep. That it was supposed to, you know, wrap the fight up. But like I said before, the way Sendo slumped over looked strange. It looked odd. It looked unusual. It didn't make any sense. We've seen people knocked out in 10,000 different fashions. We've never seen them just slump over like that. Never. To the point where it just seems weird. And then he gets back up. No Bambi legs. That's it. He just goes back at it. And it's not the fact that he's fighting Ricardo Martinez. It's the fact that how come he's fighting him and it's like there's no nothing. Nothing. Another case, right? The reason why I was so intimate on the whole why is Sendo taking these jabs like this is Sendo can parry jabs. And somebody say, what do you mean? Talking about the Miata sparring? No. If you pay attention to when he was fighting Takamura, when Takamura threw out a punch, he went to parry it, and then it blew his arm back. Like I said, I'm not expecting Sendo to do something that he can't do, but why can't he do that? Somehow, Sendo hasn't stepped in yet. Why? Even though he can do that. Even though he got great pressure. Now, Ricardo got some excellent footwork, but he hasn't attempted it, and that's weird. That's strange. That's abnormal. Very abnormal. Very unusual. And the artwork. Why else would Ricardo Martinez describe his own arms as that? Another thing that's strange, right? Don't you think it's strange for 2 world-class boxers, Miata and Ippo, to all believe the best strategy for Sendo against Ricardo Martinez is to keep applying pressure, even though he has not landed one punch? You don't think that's unusual from an IQ standpoint, on which Takamura and AJ Dante and Miyata got some of the highest IQs in the sport? And the best strategy they came up with is, well, Sendo, just keep punching him. And punch him some more. Another weird thing. Why does Miyata believe that Sendo is the only person he know of that can beat Ricardo right now? Another case. Well, why would you believe that Sendo could be able to dodge the jab? Well, if you pay attention to the whole, the hype up for Miyata versus Randy Boy Jr., I got the images now. So there's no, well, maybe it's true or not. I got the images. If you take that into account, and Miyata saying that Ricardo's jab is the final version of the jab that he wants for himself, don't you think it's quite strange that Sendo, after what, a good 1 round of taking those jabs, was able just to head slip him based on pure instinct and expectation? Like, Sendo isn't a meathead. Sendo isn't brain dead. Like, Sendo can protect himself when he wants to. He's not just, he just don't have a non-existent guard, or he would have been got knocked out by Ippo. Like, I'm sorry to disappoint those who want Sendo to be a blatant brain dead meathead, but there is a science and a method to Sendo's madness. Ask Vor, Kira support. So, I don't know, cause this, when I was looking at those images, we've never seen any other character arms get shown with the scratches on them like that. You can see Sendo's arms, you can see any other fighter arms, whether it's Marcus Rosario or anybody else's. You can't find nobody else's arms throughout the whole manga look like that. You can't do it. Because I didn't notice it until I had to color it. And it's weird. It's abnormal. It is. And I can't say it's not. It's strange. And it would explain why he has spent the first 2 rounds not doing anything impressive. Maybe it wasn't the fact that he wasn't trying to do anything impressive, and it wasn't just him downloading and calculating information, especially based on how bad he was sweating bullets, even though he had to throw 1 punch. Why are you sweating so much, Mr. Martinez? What else the reason is that he couldn't do anything? Because think about it. If he just dropped Sendo, let's just say it was a deaf guy Gonzalez, right? And he brought him to my tomb. Did you not see how Gonzalez turned up the heat against Ippo and started to obliterate him? Threw him straight into a meat grinder? Like, did you not see that? Did you not recall Gonzalez? I remember it. I gotta look at this stuff and edit this stuff all the time. I just find it strange. You can't say this is not unusual. You can't say that there's not something odd going on with Ricardo. You can't. Because why would he drop Sendo and just go back to doing the same weak jab? You've already got him quote-unquote hurt. If Sendo is already hurt and you don't know it, why aren't you using the high caliber jab you was using in sparring before you fought Wally? Before you fought, you know, you just, what happened? Did you just forget how to do it? There's no reason to think it's dangerous. You've already sparred Sendo before. You pretty much know what he can do. Because unless you want to say he don't turn Super Saiyan, activated a Kaioken and a Zenkai boost, and he's 3 times more dangerous than he was pre-Gonzalez than now. Or no, post-Gonzalez than he was pre-Gonzalez. You can't really explain to me, within reason, of why Ricardo Martinez is not doing the things he was doing before. You can't do it. You can't. Another case. Where's Ricardo Martinez's body blows at? We all know who have him. We've all seen him do it. Like, would this not be the perfect time after Sendo just got back up to attack his legs? But he chose not to do it. And he just went back to doing a basic jab and a straight right hand. How come he's not throwing that 1 hook? How come he's not throwing that 1 uppercut? Now some might say, well, we've seen Ricardo do this before. No, we haven't. Because even against Dante, he was throwing out more variation of punches in the first 2 rounds. He was. He wasn't just doing what he's doing against Sendo right now. And he didn't do the same thing against Wally either. Well, you know, he was throwing a weak jab. And it was just a setup for a right hand. It goes to another case, right? The depiction of the the setup for the right hand. Setup for the rifle, right? When Gonzalez did it, or many other fighters did it, right? He tried to play the fan base into this whole that somebody's being tricked or somebody's about to get caught by something they wasn't expecting, right? Now I was suspicious because I just thought it was strange. Like this just can't keep going on like this. Right? That's the reason why I was suspicious, right? Because even with the whole Ippo Gonzalez thing, everybody was fooled. No one saw that left hook coming. Nobody. I predicted this since the fight started. But somehow Takamura can't. Somehow AJ Dante can't. Somehow Miyata can't. So all these other fighters are just blind, oblivious, and stupid and just fought for it. Look, man, call me crazy. I can already see the people saying cope. But you gotta explain to me, why did George Morikawa show his hand shaking with that damage on it? Remember, the fight just started, and if Sendo survives to round 3, there's multiple different things that could go wrong here for Mr. Martinez. Because we still have not seen the completed version of the anti-Ricardo strategy. There's still the one that, he landed on Takamura, that Takamura didn't see coming. Oh, yeah, I went back and read the chapters for the previous video. Yeah. You gotta explain that, buddy. Yeah, like some other things were just like, if Sendo could cut off the ring, he would have done it by now. Somebody said, what do you mean? Because we already know Sendo can cut off the ring. Somebody said, well, he didn't do that against Jose Narco, so on and so on. I'm telling you, if Sendo wanted to cut off the ring, depending on the opponent, he would have done it, just like he did against Gonzalez, who's a way better opponent than Jose Narco. And even then, he cut off the ring and put him into the corner. Just like how he put Sendo into the corner. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe there's a lot more nuance. And maybe Ricardo Martinez is actually hurt. Cause like, I keep trying to make an excuse. Cause I expect this whole El Diablo Ricardo thing to happen. Cause it's gonna happen. Ricardo won a slugfest. That's gonna happen one way or another. Whether Sendo wins or not. But it's just, there's like, we've never seen him fight like this. If he was trying to get Sendo out of there, why not hit him with a harder jab? Why not? Unless this is the only thing he can do until his arms start hurting. Maybe that whole Marcus Rosario thing was actually working. It doesn't matter how you punch him, just punch him anywhere. Like he's Canelo Alvarez, I guess. To Casey, Canelo Alvarez, Sendo. We're gonna punch him anywhere, even aim for his throat. Ironically, Takamura did reference this in season 1. When he switched to the cross-on guard, Takamura made a statement saying he got a devious look in his eyes. I don't know, Ippo better keep his hands up. He might get punched in the throat. He might get punched anywhere. So Sendo's not a cheat like that, but it's funny. Cause I was gonna split this off into 2 different videos, saying some strange things about Ricardo, about the whole fight entirely. But now I'm really just focusing on, is Ricardo hurt? Cause that would explain a lot of things. A lot of things. Cause the one thing you can't answer is, what is Ricardo's game plan against Sendo? We didn't see it when Miyata was sparring. Bill Stewart never discussed it. What was his strategy against this guy? Bill Stewart described Sendo as well, pretty much the last of his species of a distinct saber-tooth race of boxers. AKA a caveman. Because remember when Gonzalez showed up, they kept pushing the whole hybrid boxer about being an infighter and outboxer at the same time. In which they also described Ippo as a part-time caveman. So, you don't think that's strange? That the only thing he went back to the corner saying was, remember, when he fought Dante, had him figure out. Now, maybe I gotta go back to that Wally fight. Maybe I'm oblivious. Or just dumb. But this is the best plan you got. Like you haven't thought about anything else. Just keep hitting him with the weak jab, then straight right hand. Now someone say, what is another concern, right? So what if, right, Sendo takes the first two jabs and weaves out of the way of the straight right hand? Then Ricardo would be looking stupid, right? Because what would be his follow-up? He threw his whole body weight behind that right hand. That would probably, depending how quick Ricardo's hands is, would leave him right for the getting decapitated with a smash. I'm just saying, man. Like a lot of things happen when I had a lot of things happen. Like I didn't just have you guys waiting for that chapter review because I wanted to. I actually had to sit there and do research and color all those images and look at the same thing over and over and over again for days. And I had to force and sit there because I wanted to get a quote unquote good video. So with all that in retrospect, it was very strange, very unusual, very hurt. He just might be wounded. And I wish I was joking and I was like, well, you know, I'm just trying to make up an excuse and do anything to make Sendo be good, and I just want Sendo to win, and that's not what's going on here. Because I didn't notice it in the chapter review. I thought, you know, Sendo's going to be done in the next two chapters, you know, unless you're going to get one hit on him, you know, he's going to lose. Now, depending on if Sendo could survive the rest of the round and get his mentality straight, you just can't focus on Grandma because Grandma's not important right now. If Grandma dies, it is what it is. Grandma dies. Now, I understand that's cold-blooded, but Grandma, whether she's alive or not, cannot help Sendo right now. This is boxing. This is a sport. People die in this sport every year. Consistently die in the sport every year in different weight classes. This is not a game. This is not a place where you can focus on other life's issues while boxing. In training camp, knock yourself out. Before the fight, knock yourself out. When that bell rings, the only thing that matters is winning by knockout or by points or taking the least damage possible. Everything else means nothing. Because you can slip and get killed out here. It's not a joke. But boxing have a higher mortality rate than UFC or MMA has ever had. Consistently known for people dying. Consistently known for having the most people with CTE. It's not a joke. And when you're putting your life on the line, you can't afford to have distractions. You can't afford to live like a normal person. You can't afford to be a human being. You're a gladiator. And until this bell rings, that's all you're going to be. It's a gladiator. So I've been at WK. I know you got thoughts on the opinion. Do you believe Ricardo Martinez is hurt? That he suffered some type of damage? And this is the only thing he can do until, you know, he get those 60 seconds on the corner? Do you believe this is part of Sendo Grandmaster plan? Because think about it. The way he got up was weird. You know, I understand I just got knocked out, but you know, it's strange, man. Or do you believe, you know, as the kids say, he's gonna be quote unquote cold, and he's just trying to make up an excuse? Alright, then I guess I'm also blind, even though I got glasses on. Okay. But if you do, you can like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and like to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. Peace.